It's sunrise and we're at the parking area for the Elephant Rock Trail. And we're going to go on this Elephant Rock loop. It's an elongated loop. And if you go around to the right and go counterclockwise, Elephant Rock's going to be at the very end. If you want to just see Elephant Rock, then take a clockwise direction and you'll see Elephant Rock within just a few 100 feet of this spot. Anyway, you can see we're at the eastern entrance of the park. There's the kiosk. It's sunrise. So let's go ahead and take this loop. Here we go. Already at the beginning of this loop, there are some pretty amazing rock formations. So I just want to stop for a moment. Take a look at these. This is right off the parking lot. Look at these. Very intricate designs, very characteristic of what you see in Valley of Fire Park. Beautiful, beautiful. Here's a great look at the mountain formation at the center of Elephant Rock Loop as we begin our trip around the loop. And there's the trail we're going to take. And let's get a 365 or 360 degree view. It's pretty early this morning and I'm still waking up. And what you see down here is the parking area, and beyond we're looking down toward the Overton arm of Lake Mead. Okay, onward. We're still on the eastern end of the loop, but just want to make a note of this little sign here that reminds us that yes, there's the loop, but there's another sign that points to the old Arrowhead Trail, which, as I mentioned, is a road that goes all the way to Salt Lake City. And you head off this direction and go for another 300 or so miles, and you will end up in Salt Lake City. Maybe one of these days I'll try that. But not today. Today we're going around the Elephant Rock Loop. So I'm going to take this little trail around now the northern end of the loop. So quick 360 degree view. There's the rock system itself at the center of the loop, and then there's a red rock hill system to the north of the loop, and all of these would be amazing hikes and exploration. Circling around, there's toward the old Arrowhead Trail heading to Salt Lake City, Overton arm of Lake Mead, and around across the highway from Elephant Rock. You can see I can talk in complete sentences now. I'm waking up. Okay, and onward around the loop. Now we're circling around the back side of the loop, but take a look at these beautiful red rock hills to the north. So many rock formations. You could just wander around here for days. Never see the same formation twice. Okay, continuing on around the loop. Okay, continuing on, we're about midway around the loop. This is only about a 1.5 mile loop. Very quick, but beautiful run or hike. There are the Red Rock Hills to the north in the sunrise. Amazing rock formations. And then here's looking down the trail we just covered and out toward the Overton arm of Lake Mead. And then now emerging is the middle of the loop. You can see what the wind and the water have done to these rocks. Okay, onward. We're now rounding the northern end of the loop, and you can look down on what is a maintenance area down here. And the reason I'm pointing it out is that this is where the natural bridges or natural arches trail begins, which is really the beginning of Fire Canyon. And you can continue on to the right of this maintenance area, and then on up Fire Canyon all the way to Silica Dome, if you would like. And that's a beautiful trip in itself, but warning, the sand is really, really deep. So either go in sandals or be prepared to be dumping sand out of your shoes repeatedly throughout the day. And then you can see in the distance here, looking to the west, see those red hills there, and there's the brown ridge system. Just to the left of those red hills is the southern ridge system for Valley of Fire Park. But right between those red hills and that ridge system, you would pass to get to, if you were taking the old Arrowhead Trail to the western Trailhead, you would pass through that area, that little pass, and end up at the western Trailhead. And by the way, on the other side of those red rocks, is the Beehives formation. So there you have it, going this direction, and then of course looking around the old Arrowhead Trail would continue out this end of the Elephant Rock loop. It's the eastern end, and it would go all the way to Salt Lake City. So there's pretty much the perspective of where we are at this point. So let's go ahead and continue around the Elephant Rock Loop. Here we go to the northern end. We're at the very eastern tip of the Elephant Rock Loop, and here's a sign that points to the eastern trailhead of Old Arrowhead Trail, and it goes down to the highway, then crosses the highway at the memorial for John G. Clark. I wonder if I can get a shot of that memorial. You can barely see a little cross. Whoa, there we go, right in the center of the screen here. John G. Clark Memorial. And around that area, you will cross the highway, and just beyond that memorial, cross the highway and you'll see a little tiny marker for the old Arrowhead Trail, and take that on back to the western trailhead for old Arrowhead Trail. But in the meantime, we are on the Elephant Rock Trail, and we are at the very eastern tip of this elongated loop. Let's take a quick 360-degree view where we are. Looking at the red rocks behind or to the north of the Elephant Rock Loop. And as the sun is rising, you see the colors dramatically changing. And now we're going to see the sun itself. And just to the left of the sun is the Elephant Rock Loop, the center of that loop. We're now looking at the southern ridge system that forms the southern border of Valley of Fire Park. And around to where we began this 360-degree view. Okay, so onward around the south side of the Elephant Rock Loop. Now as we head along the south end of the loop, you'll notice that we are pretty much paralleling the highway. And this will be the entire south end. By the time we reach the eastern end of the loop, that's where Elephant Rock is. And you can see a little pillar rock right in the center there. If you were standing on that, it's across the highway, you'd be looking right down on Elephant Rock, and that actually is a great photo spot, but that pillar is not the easiest thing to climb. Okay, now we're looking at the Elephant Rock Loop here. The boundary hills behind the loop. I mean, not the boundary hills, the Red Rock Hills to the north of the loop. Here's the highway. And then you can see, yes, that's the boundary ridge system in the distance. Southern boundary of Valley of Fire Park. And between here and that ridge system, there is the wash that goes all the way from the east to the west of the park. And if you took a left on that wash, you would end up at Charlie's Spring and then beyond. Okay, onward. We're continuing around the southern end of the loop. That rock again is the very best photo shot of you stand on top of that rock and you're looking straight down on Elephant Rock. So it's a great photo spot. If you can climb that pillar, we'll take a closer look at it. It involves a little bit of rock climbing, which I do not do, which is one reason that I have survived this long. After so many adventures, I know when I've reached my limit of comfort. Okay, continuing on along the southern side of the Elephant Rock Loop. And the next place we stop is going to be right around that rock across the highway. Here we go. Okay, we're at a high point on the southeastern end of the loop. And the reason we're stopping here is that Elephant Rock is going to be right behind this rock formation that we're looking at. And we're going to see how high we can get up on this rock formation to get a good photo op. And here we are looking down to the west, where you would be passing in that area pretty much a direct line to this point between the red rocks and the southern boundary of the park. Were you on the old Arrowhead Trail? It'd be a 6.8 mile trip from the western side of the Elephant Rock Loop. Okay, and you can see endless rock formations all around. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and cross the highway and take a look at this rock system and see if there is what looks like a relatively easy way to climb this. Actually, this wouldn't be too bad right here, but there is a little bit of exposure there, and I just don't like to risk the exposure. Not being a rock climber, I'm a trail runner. So here we go, round this end, and I'm not seeing this as a good place to ascend. You could, and a rock climber would say, oh my gosh, this is the easiest thing in the world, but I don't think I'm going to do it. So we go around this side, and well, it looks like a person with a few guts could actually climb this spot right here, but still not going to do it. And then definitely there's no climbing this area here. Too steep. So let's just stand on top of this little rise here. This is the bunny rise. And we're going to look at Elephant Rock. Let's see if we can get a good shot of Elephant Rock. It actually does look like an elephant. You look closely. Wait a minute. I'm having trouble seeing in this. The light, the sun is just hitting this screen. Here is Elephant Rock. Okay, and now we're going to continue on down to where we started. It's been a very quick loop. You see the beast parked right down there in the center of that little parking lot. Okay, onward. Oh, wait a minute. Let's do a quick 360. Looking toward the Overton arm of Lake Mead. And once again, this rock system on the other side of the highway from Elephant Rock Loop is pretty amazing. you'll see endless amazing rock formations, as amazing as anything in the whole rest of the Valley Fire Park. Okay, circling around, and there's Elephant Rock. Looks like an elephant. And then looking down the old Arrowhead Trail, and you can actually see a portion of that old Arrowhead Trail heading all the way to Salt Lake City. And here's the eastern entrance of Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada.